So today, or tonight, I'm going to talk about child soldiers and why they are such great soldiers. Throughout history, there have been numerous examples of child soldiers. The UN defines a child as anyone under the age of 18. But granted, a 10-year-old back in the Middle Ages was probably about as mature, if not more mature than a 20-year-old now. Granted, the children are just wonderful soldiers, and the fact that they are children, teenagers or whatever, makes them more dangerous. Not less. Not less. More dangerous. Think about it. They have lack of foresight. They don't have the same fears that adults do. And they have self-centeredness, lack of foresight, and they don't fear much. They also are basically little psychopaths. Whenever you hear someone go, "Oh, kids can be so mean," that's kind of like saying Adolf Hitler hated Jews or Ted Bundy liked to abuse women. It is a massive understatement. They're fucking psychos, okay? And now, most people think that, child soldiers are something that, you find in the third world, like in Africa or in certain parts of Asia, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that child soldiers exist here in the first world. In America right now, you have children in children in gangs, and they are doing a lot of the killing and all that shit. And they just don't give a crap. I mean, children are easy to indoctrinate, and that's one of the reasons why they're such great soldiers, is because if they will do whatever. If you indoctrinate them enough, they will, which is not that hard a lot of the times, they will do pretty much whatever you tell them. I mean, they often there was this case in Africa where these kids were told the gun is their father and their mother, that AK-47, and according to one of them, he would have gladly killed his father or mother if someone had told him to. Granted, he was an orphan, so that wasn't much of an option, because his parents were already dead. That being said, I could go on and on, but often what we find is that people who grew up too fast, like in the military, never grow up at all. Just look at Michael Jackson. He grew up so fast that he didn't grow up at all, and childhood and adulthood became fused together indefinitely and forever. The reality is that, John Singleton Mosby, a Confederate officer in the Civil War, said, "Boys make the best soldiers." He said, and I think Napoleon said something similar, because they don't have fear. They will just charge in and do what has to be done. On top of that, adults are often reluctant to kill kids, and when they do, it often haunts them, because biologically and socially, most people are geared to protect children, not kill them. Granted, there have been, and in most if not all societies, child killers are often frowned upon very, very efficiently. They are, it's stigmatized, killing children in most societies. I mean, it's one thing to kill an adult, but it's quite another to kill a child. And most, at least first world nations, have certain laws protecting children, like age of consent laws, child abuse laws, child neglect laws, and special penalties enhanced penalties, I should say, for killing or otherwise harming children in any way. And I also look at, other forms and things like that of government, things like that too, because the governments and societies often protect children. and thus it is very hard to kind of prepare a soldier to kill a child soldier. But that child soldier has no problem killing an adult soldier or another child soldier. Have you ever seen, if anyone has seen Lord of the Flies, that situation degenerated pretty quickly. I mean, they became animals and shit real quick. And another thing is that children, as I said before, are psychos. Their whole concept of right and wrong is often not as developed as an older person. I mean, children, if given the chance, will commit atrocities very, very quickly and very, very savagely. There was a whole, the Germans created this whole division of child soldiers. They called it the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitler Youth. Well, Hitlerjugend, which means Hitler Youth in German. They defended Caen in Normandy with amazing ferocity. And to top it all off, they were as well trained as any professional soldier. That is just tooth and equipped, and they were pretty well equipped too. That is a really very scary combination. And to top it all off, they had veteran officers from the 1st SS Panzer Division. So, I mean, my God, that is just a scary thing to come across. And another thing while we're at it is, again, children are easy to indoctrinate. And what we often see with street gangs is we have 10-year-olds being lectured about what it means to be a man by an 18-year-old gang member. And even into their early 20s, they're still acting out these dysfunctional views. And when they get to their early 20s, they still do that shit. They still have guns, and they're still shooting people and all that crap. And it's just a pattern of dysfunction that they often carry with them for a long time, if not for the rest of their lives, assuming they don't get some serious hardcore intervention. And child soldiers are not just used for killing. They are often used as, janitors, cooks, logistics people, and much, much more. Sometimes they're even used for sexual purposes. There are a lot more pedophiles in this world than people realize. A lot more. They are very, very common. Chances are you probably walk past a pedophile and not even know it. In fact, most of us have. I know I have. I've walked past pedophiles and didn't even know what I was looking at. And a pedophile can be anybody. Believe me. You'd be amazed at who would appear on the sex offenders registry, and they're just the tip of the iceberg. Also, child soldiers children often don't need to eat as much as adult soldiers, and you don't need to spend too much on, taking care of them, because, these pint-sized humans don't have to eat as much or anything like that. And child soldiers tend to be very common in poor parts of the world where these children have no hope. It just creates a whole bunch of people that you can use to recruit, and a lot of children are forced into service in a manner much more dramatic than what we think of as a draft or conscription in Western nations. I mean, they don't send you a little draft notice or anything like that. They'll just grab you, throw you on a truck with a bunch of other kids in it, and the truck is often filled with urine and feces and all that wonderful smelling stuff that accumulates human bodily waste, not to mention vomit. And they drive you sometimes for hours or maybe even a day if you're really unlucky, and then they take you to a camp. And they train you, they abuse you in a whole manner of ways, and then they make you into a killing. And then they tell you go take out your frustrations and anger on those other guys. And what are you going to do? Say no? They'll just kill you to make an example out of you. And as a result, you have a army of small, scary killing machines. They will not hesitate to commit acts of genocide even, or mass rape or whatever, because children are like these little animals that if you let them off the leash, they will go into a killing frenzy real quick. And they don't have the emotional development, they don't have the scent, the fear of danger, they don't have the ability to comprehend repercussions of things, and it's just really, really scary. And I've listened to the testimony of Russian soldiers on the Eastern Front, and they were just scared of Hitler Youth soldiers in 1945. Because, I mean, those Hitlerjugend, not the division, just that regular old Hitlerjugend, were fierce. I mean, they would just keep fighting and fighting and fighting until they were all dead. And it's like really easy to indoctrinate kids. And yeah, it's just really scary. So next time you see a child with a gun, you're dealing with something very, very dangerous. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you can, leave a donation. It's for a good cause. Bye-bye for now.